Bayou Beat, Bayou Beat News. I like saying that, and powered by JM and E. The takeover is also available via the BS3 Network and Bayou Beat News. Salute to her. God bless Nakia Cooper for coming through at the right time. Just things happen for a reason. Kenitra Williams, how are you, KP? How are you doing?
I'm all right, Chris.
And I'm trying to pull it up because I want to do the proper respect to the sponsor of the show, BayouBeatNews.com. BayouBeatNews.com, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. I am, if you are new to the show, welcome. Don't be a stranger. I am KG Chris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. And joining me is Kenitra Williams. Brother, I thought about inviting Willie Gibson to join, but he's at the Cavs game. OKC 30-4. Both on winning streaks, both playing great basketball. All right. You're not really big for predictions, but make a prediction. Who's going to win?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. OKC.
Okay, fair enough. You know, you're not married to it one way or the other. You're either right or wrong, you know. But we're going to talk about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Some WNBA / Houston franchise news, kind of news. Some Yahoo Sports news, and then some football playoffs where Kenitra can share her insight on NFL playoffs, college, the CFP semifinals, and I just sit back and listen. Because, well, stand and listen, and I'll just nod my head or yes, interesting, okay, kind of thing. But first things first, women's basketball is one of the sports truly near and dear to me, so we're going to start there. Danielle Lerner from the Houston Chronicle. She's now the Rockets beat writer for the Chronicle, but she posted an article online today via the Texas Sports Nation. Title of it, Houston Comets 2.0. Cynthia Cooper, Van Chancellor support, Tilman Fertitta's WNBA bid. I have a link posted to the article in the description, so you can check it out. It is subscriber in the subscriber area. So, you know, spend a quarter and get one of the specials, or maybe if you're nice to me, viewers, I'll send you I'll share the link with you as a gift article. So that's one, you know, hey, that could be a perk for you becoming a subscriber to the YouTube channel for the Houston Roundball Review. But in a statement provided to the Chronicle this week, Mr. Fertitta said, quote, "The Houston Comets helped put the WNBA on the map, and the city of Houston deserves the chance to once again show how great of a place it is for women's basketball. We still proudly display the Comets championship banners and retired jerseys at Toyota Center. It's been far too long. It's time to bring the WNBA back to Houston," end quote. Your thoughts on that statement, that quote from Ambassador Tilman Fertitta?
I mean, I think, it all depends on the support from the NBA and from the Houston Rockets as far as, you know, viability, sustainability. But yeah, I think because of the market size and the history and the tradition of success and the standard of excellence, I think Houston, you know, is, you know, if, you know, Golden State's getting a W team. So, I mean, why can't Houston?
Well, you know, I agree. I want the W to return to Houston because I was the youngest person on the Comets beat way back when, behind Mark Berman and William H. Stickney. They brought me into the circle and introduced me to Coach Van Chancellor. I remember Van Chancellor asking Stick, "Who is that guy? You know, the young man over there. Who is he? Can I trust him?" Yeah, Stick vouched for me.
Hey.
And ever since then, you know, I have Van's number, all those good things. So yeah, I'm in like Flint. Okay. And I missed those days. My website was WNBA Central.
I hear a butt coming.
Yeah.
However,
I mean, I do want the W to return.
Okay.
And I'm going to, but I'm going to go to the next slide because this is interesting to me. Right now, none of the Comets are attached to Fertitta's expansion bid. in an official capacity. Why not? Why not? Though Cynthia Cooper said she would love to purchase a minority stake in the WNBA team or be involved in the front office. Chancellor said he also doesn't have a formal role, adding, quote, right now, everything is in the Rockets' court. I can't go beyond more on that right now. I have always been committed to doing everything I could help, end quote. So why would you involve the Comet legend in your bid?
It might be the part where he doesn't want their input. He wants to call the shots. He wants to make the decisions of what's in his best interest under the umbrella of I'm doing it for the city, the community. But, and I don't know how far where the process is, or, are we at the
right. And that's one thing the article referencing something in September where he reportedly submitted a bid. That was in September. The national folks really haven't caught on nor included the city of Houston in potential cities as that 16th site for a WNBA franchise. So if he has submitted a formal bid, is it hush hush? Everybody else outside of the city of Houston? Right. I'm curious about that. I know why he said this.
Is it a fact-finding mission?
That too. And I know why he said this part here in a statement. The Houston Comets helped put the WNBA on the map, and the city of Houston deserves the chance to once again show how great of a place it is for women's basketball. I'm going to pause. He could have said WNBA basketball. He should have said that. He should have said women's pro basketball, because there is college basketball here in town. Women's college basketball. No one seems to know about it based on the amount of media coverage at Rice, at Houston, at Texas Southern, at Houston Christian. The amount of media coverage, KP, is you're looking at it. Okay, I'm it. I am the one person who has been at the games, who does write-ups on these teams. I'm not going to say who, I'll tell you who off air, but an administrator of one of those four schools, person noticed in the media section, me, myself, and I, person said, gee, Chris is the only person in there. I got to change that. Well, yeah. But anyway, so all of that needs to be, and I understand. And like, I'm going to go back to it. I am the bridge. Okay. I'm not being arrogant, conceited, none of that stuff, but I am the bridge. I am the tie, the connection between college, women's college, and women's pro in the city of Houston. I cover the Comets because Stick is retired. Mark Berman has retired. Jenny Dodd-Creech used to cover the Comets, has a different line of work now. She's moved on. But I am the one still remaining that covers women's basketball. I am the one. The Houston Roundball Review is the one credentialed to attend the Women's Final Four, regardless of who's playing in it. Because KP, as you know, the Houston Cougars haven't been to Women's Final Four. The Rice Owls have not been. TSU has not been. Prairie View has not been. The only Houston-ish area kind of team that's been is Texas A&M. They won the chip in 2011, and lo and behold, I was there. So all these things, I was there when Baylor won. The three times Baylor won, I was there. But in terms of Houston area team, hasn't been one. But I still go to the Women's Final Four because I enjoy it, and I firmly believe that women's hoops deserves more attention. So that's what I try to do in my small little pond. Try to do my part.
So if the W does return to Houston, what should the team's name be?
Coach Chancellor said he'd be okay if the league decided to name it the Comets again. I mean, that happens. I mean, it has happened, and I don't think so. A new name, new ownership, new identity. That's what I'm more kind of leaning toward. But I just wanted to come back. I want the W.
But here. No, I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh no, I understand what you're saying, but
Okay.
I don't want it to be the Comets again. That, let Coop, Swoop, Tina Thompson, Kim Parak,
Yeah.
Meth Arcane, that was them.
Yeah.
Okay, you had your moment. You were the original dynasty. All that, you had your moment in the sun. Let the new franchise establish its own identity. Agree?
Yeah. So that being said, what would you call them?
Well,
I mean,
probably
it's got to be something space centric,
right. So want to be constellation-esque, something like that. I'd have to think about it. On the spot, you're putting me on the spot. I don't know. I don't like Nebula. It's
Okay.
kind of cool though. It's kind of cool. That'd be
Yeah.
a cool logo.
Yeah.
Orbit.
Orbit.
Orbit is the Astros name, mascot name. So they probably won't do that.
Okay.
It's got to be
How
something
about
else.
Cosmic? Kind of sounds like Comets, but
Would there be a plural, or that be singular, plural, whatever?
Cosmic.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Force.
And I'm not so much.
Okay.
But I enjoy people putting it up for a vote and discussing it.
Yeah.
Gravity. Okay. Viewers.
Because I mean, this instead of it just being, hey, Tilman Fertitta, has submitted a bid. Like, if you get it out, just kind of in the
drum up some interest,
so that people are talking about it, so that that they can see, like, okay, there is something here. It's not just like one man's idea.
Right.
Like, okay, if people are talking about it, and if they're invested in picking the colors and picking, the name, and like whatever, like it, you got to start the grassroots effort.
And it would show the WNBA office, the front office people, oh, they are serious about this. They really are interested in having a team.
It does matter.
It matters. The article did reference that the Rockets' new practice facility, training facility, would be utilized by the WNBA franchise. Tilman said that they would share that facility. Okay, that's great. I mean, they used to share the one over at Westside Tennis Club. Mm-hmm. They used to share the stuff over at Toyota Center. So that'd work. And the Rockets one is very nice. It's a little further away than it used to be. It was downtown, 5 minutes from my house. But anyway, I digress on all that too. But I agree with you, and I like the idea, the suggestion of having a contest, a naming contest for the fans, because fans of the WNBA in Houston are not fans of women's college basketball. They never intersected. That was a fail by both sides years ago. So if the W did return, they need to fix that. Okay. And put me in charge of that. Literally put me in charge and pay me to put me in charge, because I have a whole lot of ideas on how to fix that. Yeah. So, and I'm serious about it. You have to have passion for women's basketball in H-Town, because it's a desert. Okay. It honestly is a desert. But I am one of those, and I don't run from it. I'm not ashamed of it. I enjoy it. I'm proud of it. Mm-hmm. I cover the Longhorns and the Aggies and Baylor and Big 12, all those teams. Look forward to it. One of those two Longhorns could be a team in Tampa, get to the Final Four. Yeah. So, I've known Coach Schaefer for a long time as well. I'm old enough to have connections to a lot of folks. But, so hopefully it happens. Salute to Danielle Lerner. She also did an article on the Houston Angels, the very first women's pro basketball team in Houston from what, the late 70s, early 80s, I believe. They played over at Hofheims Pavilion, I want to say. And Greg Williams was a head coach there. Mm-hmm. Jessie Kinlaw was on that team, played on that team, and she was a head coach at Houston. So goes a lot of ties with her. So Angels probably will be out. But
okay, in your opinion, what is more likely to happen? A current franchise gets relocated to Houston, or Houston is granted an expansion franchise of their own?
Probably, I just don't see the W choosing Houston as a 16th team. I think a team would have to move here. They have to relocate here. Yeah. That's what I would think. And it's a problem. And
I mean, but there's precedent,
oh
in
yeah,
the
for sure.
WNBA. So
There is. And this won't happen, especially now that the city has pledged to build a new practice facility for the Dallas Wings in downtown Dallas. But their attendance is not very good. So that'd be an easy move for that ownership to just come down to Houston, where Tilman say, well, y'all are doing what y'all are losing money in hand over, left and right. I can do a better job, move down here. That would work. It probably won't work. Probably needs to work, because unless Caitlin Clark is visiting, they don't even know who the Dallas Wings are, and they play in Arlington. So, but bottom line, I would love for the W to return to the city of Houston. I'll cover it if I have the time to do so. I was glad to see Janae Ogumake quoted numerous times in the article, part of women's hoops. No, basketball royalty here in H-Town, that the Ogumake family.
I mean, and that's again, I can't tell anybody what to do with their money, but Fertitta would be wise to embrace the Ogumake family.
Yes.
I mean, as well as the Comets,
Yes.
There's value in that experience and in that knowledge, besides just having money. Like, it's personal.
Yes.
So, bring that in to strengthen the bid and the foundation of what this potential organization could be.
Because Van Chancellor and I'm not going to share anything, that I shouldn't share. But Coach Chancellor, every few months, once a year or so, Chris, what are you hearing about the W come back to Houston? Chris, what do you know about it? I'm like, Coach, you know more about it than I do. Right. I'd love for it to happen. Well, what can we do to get it with it, to get it coming back here? And so we had some conversations. I think I mentioned to the audience when Houston Christian Women's Hoops had their first fundraising event, fashion show. Coach Chancellor was the special guest. I was seated next to him at his table. So he told some stories, and it was great to hear from him, great to see him. And at that event, Chris, what are you hearing about the W? Some other folks, Chris, what can we do to get the Comets? What can we do to get the W back to Houston? So that discussion, I'm a part of those talks. And I love to be more a part of it. I've been part of bids for the Women's Final Four to come to Houston. Some folks higher up think I should be involved more. I agree, considering the bids have failed 3 times. But anyway, that's for another story. Thank you for your input on this. I appreciate you. And folks, I would love to get your thoughts on on what we discussed, your ideas for a name, your idea to get out there and say, yeah, we need to start jumping up some interest and ask more questions. Because before this article was posted January 8th, the talk kind of died down. It was brought up, I think around September or so, that Tilman had mentioned he was going to put in a bid. He brought it up at the Rockets Media Day in October about bringing the WNBA back to Houston. And since then, it was pretty hush-hush. There wasn't any talk. College basketball season started. Women's hoops has started. You got Unrivaled about to begin on January 17th, playing in Miami. So the interest of women's hoops nationally is growing. It's just little peeps here and there here in Houston, and you got to change that, to change the narrative on that. On another note, this news came out, and Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports obtained some documents that the Power Four conferences have in the early stages of discussions to basically take over control of events that are currently controlled by the NCAA. For example, the proposal is a collaboration of the 4 power leagues would grant the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and ACC rights to manage postseason championships, such as the men's and women's basketball tournaments, assuming control over events that have long been operated by the National Association. I'm going to stop right there. What do you think about that?
I don't know. It just, how, because on one hand, we want the expansion of the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, then now you want some more input. And it's just like, it's a fractured landscape. And it's just like, college athletics looks differently than what we know it to be. I mean, because then, I don't know how much traction you get with that. And regulation is going to be an issue.
You're so wise. The proposal is described as only as, quote, a working document and is not a complete or approved product. Brett Yormark, commissioner of the Big 12, calls the proposal part of, quote, a complete review of the entire model, end quote, and the necessary modification to provide greater authority to the power leagues. Quote from him: "We have no desire to compromise what makes college athletics so special, but instead, we want to make necessary adjustments to reflect where the industry is going," end quote, he said in a statement to Yahoo Sports. However, there is fear that granting the power conferences control of these marquee postseason events will limit opportunities for those mid-majors and possibly even reduce the revenue shares from the tournament. Such changes to the NCAA governance structure may require a vote of the full Division I membership, likely a difficult majority to obtain. See, you're so smart. You're so smart. It's like you've been around this a long time.
I mean, but it's basically it's the same thing that we're seeing with NIL. The Power Four conferences. You have
they made the decision for everybody.
Yeah, you have certain coaches who are saying, certain coaches who are involved in the current college football playoff saying, we can't recruit, we can't compete because we just don't have the resources to be able to entice our current players to stay or to lure other players to come to our program.
And it gets better. There's more, and there's more. The group outside of the 28 conferences fears repercussions of ceding more authority to the Big 10, SEC, Big 12, and ACC. Multiple non-football playing and FCS executives told Yahoo Sports this week. Currently, NCAA officials are in active negotiations with CBS and Warner Brothers Discovery over an idea to expand, lo and behold, the men's and women's basketball tournament to add 4 or 8 teams. The chances of the NCAA adopting the Power League's proposal is uncertain. The proposal was described by one as an aggressive solution that has real legs, but by another as having little to no chance to pass in its current iteration. If the Power Leagues don't get consensus in a full membership vote, they could withdraw from the association. However, Miss KP Kenitra-Pulliams, that presents another problem. The Power Leagues and NCAA entered into a 10-year agreement as part of the House settlement, binding the entities together through 2035. Thoughts on that?
I mean, contracts are made to be broken. There are out clauses and loopholes and fine print and agreements to go separate ways. I mean, you can't sit here and be like, I don't like it, so I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go home. But I mean, one of those lines in there is like, what about Gonzaga? Not a football school.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to them? Where do they fit in?
It's a mess, and there will be lawyers. There will be lawyers. Let me see if I have it. If not, we can discuss it. There we go. Speaking of power, the big boys, as I just like to call them, the big boys, you won in their own way and getting more teams in the NCAA tournament. This came about. The college basketball crown. Fox Sports and AEG will launch a new postseason college basketball tournament. The college basketball crown will be a 16-team tournament taking place March 31st through April 6th in Las Vegas. The games will be played at the MGM Grand Garden Arena and T-Mobile Arena. Teams that do not qualify for the NCAA tournament will be eligible. The Big 10, Big 12, and Big East, whose games are carried on Fox, will each have 2 automatic entries. The other teams will be selected by a committee. So they're already trying.
So this is the NIT.
But with the NIT is now part of the NCAA. So this is instead of the NIT. Because last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. It's the big boys version of the NIT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, so instead of playing home and home sites.
And I wonder, and I haven't found out yet, but Andy Yanez asked me when I sent him the article and everything about the college basketball crown. He asked a good question. So will NIL be involved in this? I mean, it's not really under the NCAA umbrella.
Right. So that was my next question is what's the payout?
Yeah.
I mean, because you have these teams currently who decline invitations to the NIT.
Yes.
Or as some call it, the prom. You go to the big dance or you go to the prom.
Right.
And they're just like, we're good. Nah.
So I'm curious to see how that's going to work.
And the fact that this tournament coincides, with the NCAA tournament.
And I'm curious to see how well it's attended. I mean, Vegas is a great town, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Hotels, all that is there, but will it have enough cachet to because one of my buddies, I sent it to him and he said, I hope the Cougs are never in that.
Right.
Because that means you're not in the big dance.
Right. And then, and that's the thing is like, okay, so you just play it straight through.
So I'm curious. I mean, it's got linear component.
So that's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
So you expect your fans of those teams who are included. You wait for Selection Sunday, and knowing your team didn't get an automatic bid or an at-large bid, and then all of a sudden, okay, hey, let's make plans to go to Vegas for one day for how long?
Yeah. It's a great question because if the NCAA, if the tournament expands to 72 teams, I think the max is probably going to go to is 76. So add 8 more teams to the NCAA tournament. Wow. So the college basketball crown, you would convince people to say, come see team 77 to 92 in Vegas. Hey, we're number 77. Come see us play. Come see us compete. And then, of course, the NIT, well, they have 93 to 130 or whatever it is. And then the CBI, whatever that is. So
yeah.
Okay. But there's money involved, clearly, and they're going to try to make the most of it.
But that's the thing is so whether it's NIL or, do you then, what's the budget to pay for teams to come stay in Vegas?
And will their expenses be covered?
That's what I'm asking.
Right, because like the CBI, in most cases, they have to pay for those. They got to pay to travel. They got to pay to host all that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. At least with NIT, there are some on-campus games, so it's like, okay, you kind of reduce expenses there. But if all of this is in Vegas, like, all right,
and it's almost a case of too much content, because who's going to watch? Let's see, March 31st.
Everybody gets a medal.
Yeah, that's where. Thank you. You summed it up better than I could. That's where it's headed.
Participation trophies, yay!
Because March 31st, that is like the Monday of Final Four week, I think this year. So the Final Four will be determined. The teams will be set, men's and women's, but for the men. So let me bring it back up again. Yep, March 31st through April 6th, and April 6th is that a Saturday?
No, I don't know.
Let me see if I can bring this up quickly, because that kind of matters as well. It can't be a Saturday because Saturday is semifinal day for the men's tournament.
Right.
At the Sunday. April 6th is a Sunday. Oh, okay. So they want to go head to head with the women's championship game. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that probably won't draw well for the men. So that's strange. And if it's going to start March 31st, then what are the 16 teams going to be doing for 2-3 weeks? Once their seasons are over, the conference tournaments are over, what are they going to be doing? Are they going to practice for 2 weeks? So, a lot of questions going to
go on spring break and then come back.
Yeah. So, okay. But that's out there as well. I had forgotten about it, and I did not know that it was named the College Basketball Crown. I knew about this, the big boys want to put this together. Mm-hmm. But Miss Wanda sent me the article. Well, she told me that she saw a commercial, a promo for the event last week, I think.
Okay.
So she said, hey, it's out there. This be a good topic. And I said, oh yeah, I know about it. I just didn't realize it had a name. And then I went back and found out that it was already named. I was like, oh, well, yeah. But now it's in Vegas and dates already established, all that kind of stuff. But again, I hope the clues are never in that. Or if they are, it's because of a rebuilding year, something, whatever. But anyhow, but you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, sponsored by Bayou Beat, BayouBeatNews.com. Bayou Beat, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. The show is streaming on ROKU via the BS3 Network. If you have a ROKU streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If you don't, just go to BS3Network.com or BS3TVLive.com. And I'm happy to say that Houston Roundball Review shows are available on the BS3 Network on demand. So you can get that app and check out the shows like Let's Rage Cougs, like The Takeover. But if you are new to this show today, thank you. Don't be a stranger. If you are wondering what BS3, what is that? BS stands for Ben Suttert. He is the owner and founder of BS3 Network. But if you're like, man, what is BS3? I'm kind of curious. I'm glad you asked. Here is this promo to give you an indication of what B BS3 Network is all about. We'll be back in about 35 seconds. You are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, sponsored by Bayou Beat. Be back shortly.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, sponsored by Bayou Beat and empowered by JM&E. The takeover is also available via the BS3 Network. Bayou Beat, BayouBeatNews.com is the website. Bayou Beat brings that Southern love to your daily news coverage. I am KG Chris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, and joining me is another queen in my life, my colleague, Cynthia Pulliams. You missed the first half of the show. You can watch on demand. We talked about possibly the Houston Comets 2.0 coming to Houston as a 16th franchise, or maybe even a relocated franchise. And also the NCAA proposal, the Power 4 proposal to have more control over events such as the men's and women's basketball tournaments. Next, now I'm going to show you KP's knowledge. Her sports knowledge is going to expand. Football. I'm going to talk some football. Playoff seeding right there. Anything surprise you in these seedings? In a good way, negative way? Who's the favorite?
I mean, the two-time defending Super Bowl champs are the favorite, despite their lack of competitiveness in the season finale against Denver, which helped the Broncos make the playoffs. And people are joking that the Chiefs got shut out intentionally to keep Joe Burrow and the Bengals out of the playoffs. No, but make something to talk about. So yeah, Pittsburgh struggling. So
where are you in the discussion? Because here in H-Town, I saw this morning. Apparently, a lot of the national pundits are criticizing or are mocking the Texans and saying the Texans are the worst team in the playoffs. The bettors have the Chargers as a 3-point favorite. It's a home game for the Texans, but the Texans don't have a chance to win that game. What do you say?
I think I wouldn't say they're the worst. I think they're just injured. And I think that has played a big role in just, but I think I think I predicted 10 wins. You
did. You and AD were right about that same 10 or 11. So correct.
Yeah, but I think injuries, it just, but everybody deals with them. But does the addition of Ezekiel Elliott make a difference to the Chargers? We'll see.
Do you have Prime Video?
I don't.
Me either. Thank you. Let me bless you, Queen. Neither do I. So I know you are the only other person I know who does not have Prime Video. So we are going to miss the Ravens Steelers game this Saturday because it is exclusively available on Prime. AD Moore will be wrapping up his post-game work following the Texans Chargers game that kicks off at 3:30. And AD's the Ad Max Corner show will stream after Les Rage Cougs because the Cougs play Kansas State in Manhattan on Saturday at 5 o'clock. So our Let's Rage Cougs post-game show will probably begin around 7:10, 7:15. And we should be done probably about 8 o'clock. And then AD will wrap up, recap the Texans. I don't want to be the kiss of death, so I'm not going to make any prediction. But he'll recap the Texans-Chargers playoff game after us on the AdMax Corner. And KP, I don't know if I told you or if you saw it. But once again, Mr. A.D. Moore, the AdMax Corner, Mr. A.D. Moore, representing the Houston Roundball Review, has been approved and will attend the NFL big game in New Orleans.
Nice.
So, yes. So that's another feather in the cap for the Houston Roundball Review. Final Four, the big game. So let me put on my business hat. Salute to Bayou Beat. But also, if you want to be like Bayou Beat and say, yeah, you know, I'm going to be part of the Houston Roundball Review. Well, there you go. Easy way. Email advertise@thehrr.com and I can share info on how you can be a part of advertising on this show, advertising on Let's Rage Cougs, advertising on the growing in popularity Let's Talk Houston Rockets post-game shows, which I started doing just last week. I decided to change the format. I'm doing post-game shows after every Rockets home game. And those are going quite well. So if you want to do that, one more time, advertise at thehrr.com. KP, what are your thoughts on my Commanders? And then now, once again, my Commanders, because there's an owner that I respect now. So go ahead.
No, I think, you have a Heisman Trophy winner as a quarterback. He's special, and they've put some good pieces together, and just kind of the way that he has been able to work with Cliff Kingsbury to propel that offense, and that's the question is like, they kind of put Kingsbury on the spot this week or last week about his aspirations of returning back to, head coaching position in the NFL. And he's like, oh, absolutely. He's like, I'm learning a lot of culture building and, things that I would do differently when I get that. He's like, now I'm very happy within this organization and in my role. He's like, but he did not deny his desire to return back to the head coaching position.
And there are how many openings now in the NFL? Was it 5?
Yeah, but how about like the Cowboys throwing a stiff arm at the Bears? Like, no.
Yeah, no, you can't talk to Mike.
Now Jerry Jones hasn't come out and said,
right,
Mike McCarthy will be back as our head coach, but you still can't talk to him.
Right. And it would be very Jerry Jones to let Mike McCarthy go, tomorrow, next week, and say, yeah, after giving it some consideration, I thought it was best for the organization to move on and look for another head coach. We thank Mike for his time. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Okay. I know you don't want to do it, but I'm going to try to urge you to do it. Make some predictions. Come on. Texas Chargers. Ravens Steelers.
Ravens.
Bills Broncos.
Bills.
Eagles Packers.
Eagles.
Buccaneers Commanders.
Commanders.
Rams Vikings.
Vikings.
All right. Well, thank you for picking the Commanders. I'm not concerned because I'm not an invested fan like I used to be. I'm getting there. But from what I do know about the Commanders, is their secondary is not very good. And Tampa Bay's receiving core is pretty good. So that's going to be a chore for the Commanders. But after all this time, I'm glad Washington has an owner that is competent. And so that's the first thing that I'm happy about. Other stuff, the winning this first year was a surprise and enjoyable. But so if they lose, it's okay. Onward and upward for the team. Just thank you for restoring joy and pride and really competency to the franchise, because it used to be a very proud franchise that the other guy ran into the toilet, but still made a lot of money. He lands on his feet with millions or whatever. All right. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. What are your thoughts on the saga? Is it a saga? Is it a drama? How would you describe it?
Hot air.
On whose part?
Both.
Okay. Why do you say that?
I mean, he's unhappy. He's worn out his welcome. He wants out. I'm going to try and force my way out. Pat Riley's like, we're not going to entertain any trade offers. And then Jimmy's like, oh yeah, watch. So then he gets suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. You know, like
they were trying to not make him a distraction. You know, he'd become a distraction.
Right.
When Pat Riley made the statement that we are not trading Jimmy Butler, what was your initial reaction?
Didn't have one.
Oh, mine was, you say that now, just you wait. And it didn't take long for Jimmy to say, well, okay.
Right.
But the trade, now that Jimmy has been suspended, and Miami stated that they are listening to trade offers, they have been disappointed in the offers that they have received thus far.
Are you surprised?
Not at all. I mean, what do you expect? But why? What is your take on, is there a team, in your opinion, that will ultimately trade for Mr. Butler? Or will Miami just say, we'll wait till the summer to deal with you?
I don't know the inner workings of the organizations and, you know, what they have as far as draft capital, salary cap, needs, you know. If a team gets desperate enough, or if enough players get injured, you know, and you're like, you need to win, you know, and even if it's a 1-year Band-Aid, you know.
That is an excellent segue, because I have two teams that might be getting desperate. Mm-hmm. They're both in the West.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the Phoenix Suns.
Mm-hmm.
The other is the Golden State Warriors. The Suns, I did not have high expectations for the Suns coming into this season. Other folks, you know, predicted them to be like second, third in the West, and I just like, okay, you know, based on what? I know, just because Bud's in charge now, okay, whatever. They are, I want to say, 3 games under 500. They made a change to the starting lineup. Brad Beal, I call him Brad. Brad Beal is coming off the bench. The team that Jimmy Butler wants to go to is the Phoenix Suns. In terms of salary cap numbers, the trade that makes financial sense, the numbers match, is Jimmy Butler for Brad Beal. Miami doesn't want Brad Beal. Brad Beal also has a no trade clause. So Brad Beal still has leverage. Do you think either side will blink for that deal to happen?
Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to blink. They just have to think differently. What if you bring in a third team as a trade partner? And so instead of just doing, you know, a lateral trade, do it triangularly. And then maybe there's something enticing about that.
But I wonder, in that scenario, what team would want Brad Beal and his, I think, 2 more years left at about $100 million.
You know, but it also happens all the time to where you agree to release him so that he can sign, make him a free agent, and then he can sign wherever, you know.
We'll see, because the other way is Miami wants Devin Booker.
Okay.
Phoenix we're not going to do that. We're not giving you a younger player for an older player. So I don't know what Mr. Butler, and he's not helping himself, in my opinion, when he said, I am going to be a free agent this summer. So I am not going to exercise an option.
I've fallen out of love with the game.
I've missed my joy. I have to find my joy on the court, because he still has joy off the court in Miami, but he's lost that joy on the court in Miami. And I thought to myself, bless his heart. I feel like an old grandmother. Bless your heart, baby. You got to find that joy. I hope I wish you well. And I'm not hitting on him in terms of salary. Everybody knows. But think about it. There's only one team really that projects to have salary cap room to fit in his current salary, and that's the Brooklyn Nets. But the Brooklyn Nets don't want a 35-year-old player. Their timeline is different than Mr. Butler's. So him saying he wants to be a free agent, so he's telling the teams that, if you trade for me, I'm not going to sign a long-term deal. I'm going to be a free agent in the summer. So he's a rental. So he's told the Bucks, yep, no. He's told the Grizzlies, yep, no. I'm going to be a free agent. So you're limiting the teams that will make a trade for you right now. So his representatives, I'm not sure what they're thinking. They have an end game. I don't know what it is.
Right. I mean, he's making it seem like these teams need him.
And they have to have him.
Difference between want and need.
Yes.
So by him putting all of these terms and conditions about who he will play for, how long he will play. All right, watch.
Now the next team, or the second team I said that is getting desperate, I think getting desperate, the Golden State Warriors. They are 18-18 after a 12-3 start. So that means they've gone 6-15 since that surprisingly great start. I think it was really fool's gold because they weren't, as you can see now, they're with the other average, But if Wardell Curry says, I'm tired of all this weight on my shoulders, y'all need to bring somebody in here who can help us win. Steph, Wardell, are you saying you want Jimmy Butler on this team? Yes. Would that be what it would take for Golden State to think about trading for Mr. Butler?
What are they going to give up for him?
Got to be Jonathan Kuminga, which would make Miami happy, but ultimately it would hurt the Warriors in long term because, again, Jimmy Butler is 35 years old. Okay? He's not LeBron. He's not going to be excelling at 40. So it's a chance if Golden State blinks and makes that deal, they're not going to be a title contender. Hell, even if they got him this year, I don't think they're going to win a chip this year. They're not beating Oklahoma City out of the West. So how long would they really extend their championship window? 4 months? if that. So I don't know. The Warriors are listless, lifeless. Dennis Schroeder is not really a Golden State Warriors point guard kind of player. He needs ball in his hands. Warriors offense is free flowing, so the fit isn't there just yet. So I don't know what they're going to do. But do you think Jimmy Butler, February 6th is the deadline, the NBA trade deadline. Do you think Jimmy Butler will be somewhere else playing for a different NBA team February 7th?
Sure, why not?
All right, fair enough. It won't be the Rockets.
I have no reason. The tea leaves don't tell me one way or another, but sure.
But it won't be the Rockets. But that'll do it. The net rankings, Big 12, SEC. Oh, I got to get your thoughts on this. Kansas Jayhawks, men's hoops. Mm-hmm. They did not forget. Clearly, they remembered what happened last season in Orlando against UCF when the Knights won last season. The Jayhawks went into UCF Arena and won by 51 points. 50, what was it, 99, 40, was it 8? Something like that. When I saw the final score, I had to look at it again. I was like, what? And then
sort of like the Florida-Tennessee game,
but worse. Well, that was a surprise because, you know, that's two top 6-ish.
But I mean,
yeah.
was it? You know, was it? But was KU UCF worse when, as opposed to two top 10 teams, and the margin of victory?
I mean, 30 point. Cause where was I? I was at. Not doing, because when I saw that score, I was like, 30-point victory. Damn. I was like, Florida. But then I was like, SEC hoops is going to be fun this year. So,
Yeah.
You know, on any given night, you never know what's going to happen.
I mean, look at Kentucky and Georgia,
That as well. It's just the beauty of sports. But Hunter Dickinson does what players do. He said after the game, I saw some confetti fall from the rafters before the game. So I thought to myself, oh, they're already planning for another celebration, like they're going to beat us tonight. So with that in mind, I told myself I'm going to be more aggressive, more active from the jump, and we're going to win this game going away.
So you need to wait to see confetti to get inspired?
Apparently,
how do you defend what happened at home against West Virginia?
Well, because he said he had not been playing as well as he should, as well as his not up to his capabilities. So he said he's going to do better with his teammates, be a better teammate, be a better player to help his team win, starting with the game against UCF. Then, of course, word came out from UCF that confetti was left over from the New Year's Eve celebration. So, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah. Hunter, who has a new deal with CBS to be an analyst, not an analyst, but a contributor.
Contributor, yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Working on his next career for life after basketball.
Indeed. Yes. Okay. That'll do it on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, sponsored by Bayou Beat, BayouBeatNews.com. We're getting close to my weekly a question for you, but BayouBeatNews.com, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. Miss Kenitra Pulliams, my question is, have you found a new social media platform yet?
With the new announcement of fact checking?
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay.
So we will just continue communicating where we have, and then I'll send you the links and the invites that way. And that is fine. Thank you, as always, for taking time out of your schedule, your routine, to share your insight with me. I appreciate it. And we're going to do it as long as you're willing to do it. As long as you're willing, I'm going to invite you and bring you back. So thank you very much. Stay warm.
Yeah.
Enjoy football, enjoy hoops, and wrapping it up. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. Spread the word about the Houston Roundball Review, the Takeover, these Throwback Thursday editions, sponsored by Bayou Beat, BayouBeatNews.com. Watching the shows on Roku via the BS3 Network. I am, of course, KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. In conclusion, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.